Jana. I'm absolutely with you and with all those who are attending our program tonight. And I'm so happy to be here. At least you will hear me today. For some special technical reason, you won't see me, but you will see my presentation. I'm kind of hiding today behind the presentation about MagHealy. And I have so much to share today with you that in the morning I found out it's not possible within 1 hour. So, but I was very happy to hear that I have 5 parts of this webinar. So there's plenty of time to peacefully go through all these new things. And I will already touch the topic, the science behind Healy today, but I will leave it mainly for the 2nd of May, when will be our next webinar. So I'm very happy to speak about the MagHealy and to present you also the results of the first study, which we have done with the MagHealy. Here, okay. So I want to speak a little about the MagHealy and the history of the MagHealy, because there was when we had the Healy and we recognized how much success people have with applying the Healy, how many people's well-being and holistic health has been increased. We got the feedback from the field. We started our first own studies, additional to the studies which we had already, and we had this overwhelming feedback. So this very much inspired us to proceed also with the development. And the next step, which I saw in the development of Healy, was to include the knowledge and experiences of one of the greatest persons on this planet alive, who has the most experience with the specific effects of frequencies. She trained thousands of people to become frequency therapists all over the world. She has not only her schools in the United States, but one in London, one in Cairo in Egypt, in Australia, in East Europe, in so many places, in Germany, where we met her. I'm speaking about Carolyn McMakin. And I had the honor and pleasure to, many years ago, visit one of her core seminars. It's a full week of training of how to use 2 channels of frequencies simultaneously, applying them to a person. She used mainly wet towels to do it. Very low current of 200 microampere going through those parts of the body which were affected. And I saw what was happening in each of the seminar. In one seminar, we had around 30 to 40 therapists. So all the participants were therapists, but they trained to use this method always in pairs of therapists. So each of the therapists had some issues to be dealt with. And for most of them, within the course of this 7 days, these issues were solved. It was so fascinating for me to see. I also participated in it, and I learned a lot. And my desire was so clear. I want to integrate these frequencies with this experience, with this extraordinary lady behind, into not only time but also into the Healy, which that time was not yet developed, but we had the concept for the Healy already 2013. This seminar was 2014. So it took a long time to decide how to do it, because we understood. First, we integrated it in time waiver, and there we could train the therapist using 4 electrodes of wet towels or a special type of electrodes to deal within a physiotherapeutic context or other contexts. But now the challenge was how to integrate it in Healy, where we are not dealing with therapists, where we are not dealing with medical issues. We don't treat diseases, but we are taking care. We are taking a holistic health approach to help people to rebalance their bioenergetic field, to make a deep impact on a level of energy and information, how to integrate it. And together with Carolyn, we had a great idea because she told me, and I was fascinated by this, that the same frequencies which she applies electrically through the wet towels can be applied with very weak electromagnetic fields. But you need two separate magnetic coils. Magnetic fields. You need two separate, distinct magnetic coils, and each of them having their own frequencies, so that you can apply two frequencies at once. You have heard about it. One frequency addresses the issue which you want to address in the bioenergetic field. If something is overregulated or underregulated, or there's too little energy or too much, it can be all kind of different issues. And then the second frequency addresses the bioenergetic tissue, which location, which area in the body or in the mind or in the bioenergetic field is energetically addressed. So if you combine these two frequencies, it's like two laser beams who meet at one point. It's very specific. So this is a complementation to the way which we use the Healy, where everything is guided from the information field, so that always the whole system is addressed and being pushed towards a more holistic state, towards more coherence. So here, working with the MagHealy, with the magnetic field, one can work more precisely. So that's amazing. You can also place it locally. Wherever you need it, can be placed on the knee or on the back or at the neck, but you can also apply it globally to the whole body. You just apply it to the chest. For example, you lie down, take the MagHealy and place it on your chest and relax or fall asleep, whatever. Choose a program which you need, like Brain Harmony or like Vegas for relaxing, or there are many other programs for increasing the well-being through interaction with the bioenergetic field. So this was the history. We wanted to integrate Carolyn McMakin's heritage into the MagHealy and make it so usable without having wet electrodes, without having lots of cables, without that one needs specific knowledge. So it's everything customized, and Carolyn gave us the sum and essence of her 20 years or even more of experience in 24 specific protocols, which contain always a series of couples of frequencies. So this was the original intention why we developed the MagHealy. But then, and this is always happening when one has a great idea, we saw that if we already have these two powerful coils creating an interference of two magnetic fields with two different frequencies, we can use this asset also for different additional application, because, and here is the difference which distinguishes the MagHealy from the Healy. Distinguishes it that the MagHealy, if you place it in any part of the room, creates a magnetic field which, in the shape of a torus, permeates the space around up to a radius of 1 to 1.5 meters. So within this radius, the space gets vibrant with the frequencies which are emitted from the Healy, in which this toroidal magnetic field vibrates. Because the space itself is not just emptiness, but we know it's full of energy. It's a grid of energy, and it can vibrate. It can be coherent or non-coherent, like water. So space has energy, space has quality. All the ancient cultures knew it. They talked about the energy of the space because it's a grid of oscillators. It's vibrant. It's something which we understand nowadays from the attempts to quantize the theory of gravitation, that space is a quantum vibration and it contains more energy. The vacuum contains, the physical vacuum, more energy than all matter together. So this is a space in which we are living. So the MagHealy actually energizes the space around you. And that's great because we can stay in the aura of the MagHealy with 2, 3, 4 people, and even beyond this 1.5 meter, you can assume that the whole space or a whole room is affected by this vibration, because if a part of the space vibrates, the rest of the room will also be affected. So if you have a meeting, you can place the MagHealy in the center of the meeting room, and you can, according to the program you choose, you can calm down the energy, or you can make it more creative or focus, or try to use the conflict solving frequencies. It depends also on the purpose of the meeting. Or put it in the room of your children where a certain energy is required. Depends on what the kids want to do. Maybe they want to study. They should sit down, or they just want to play, and you try to avoid conflicts. Choose this program. So this is the idea of the MagHealy atmosphere module. So the atmosphere module complements the MagHealy, the MagMaken module. MagMaken module means you take the Healy, you take the MagHealy, put it close to your body so that the magnetic field permeates the body. You know what happens if a dynamic magnetic field works through your body? It creates currents, circular currents. So electricity and magnetism are related to each other in a complementary way. Electrical current and magnetic fields create each other. Like in an electromagnetic wave, like in light, the electric and the magnetic vectors of the field are rectangular to each other. They are orthogonal, and they create each other and annihilate each other. In this way, you can use your Healy with the electrical current through your body and simultaneously be within this vibrant space of a pulsating magnetic field with harmonizing frequencies, which the MagHealy creates. I have mentioned it already in one of the last webinars, that before I started to develop time waver, and after I studied physics, still in the time when I was a monk, traveling India, especially North India, going to the foot of the Himalaya mountains, where I met great masters of Vedic arts. And I learned this Vedic arts from them. I learned the ancient Vedic astrology, and I learned the ancient Vedic geomancy and also architecture, and I combined it. So the principle of the energy of space I learned from these sources and from these masters. And I have seen that this knowledge is a mixture of universal principles which are expressed in the language of a culture and in the language of a certain age, thousands of years ago. So my question was, is this just cultural, regional knowledge, which is different in China from as it is in India, and in South America it's opposite? Or are there global principles of energy of space behind? And it took me a few years to distill 12 natural laws from the thousands and thousands of principles which I learned from the old scriptures and from the masters which I met. And I reduced it to 12, 3 times 4 universal principles, which are applicable all over the world. If you are in North America or if you're in Africa on the southern hemisphere, it doesn't matter. They just depend on the rotation of the earth, on the movement of the sun, on the flow of energy along the magnetic fields from the north to the south, on the effect of water on these energies, on the effect of stones on these energies, and colors and materials and so on. And I wrote a book about it. It's available in German language called The 12 Laws of Harmonic Living. I have an English translation, but I believe has never been published by a large publisher. But I'm thinking about rewriting down this knowledge in an even simpler way so that everyone in the network can use it, because it's amazing just by observing your living space to understand the energy of the space and how it might interact with you. It can be personalized. I want to just tell you 2-3 things. One is the energy of the north is very important, because from the north there is a stream of energy coming along the magnetic lines, entering the house through the north. So watch out for the quality in the north of your house or of your living room or of your office. It should be light. There should be a window which leaves in the energy. And if there is a heavy oak cupboard, take it away, bring it to the other side. The same with the east. So the positive energy of the morning sun, of the rotation from the earth is coming there and take care of this direction. And they meet in the northeast. So the northeast is the gate of the energy into your space. Have it clean, have it as light as possible. And that's the place where you can put the MagHealy, once you have it, to affect the whole space from this important position. And then it's not so important anymore how strong the magnetic field are. It goes down to nanoteslas and still can affect the bioenergetic system of a human or an animal or the plants in your house, because our bioenergetic system is very sensitive to energy, even low energy, if it has the right frequency and it has the right phase. And this is how the MagHealy works. Healy works in the same way, to find this resonance frequencies and apply them in the right phase to increase the coherence of the system. So in future, I want to like to share much more of this knowledge with you as time proceeds. So, but now let's get back to the different editions of the MagHealy. I'm sorry, I'm going a little chaotic through my presentation because, just changing the sequence. Here you see on one glance the 4 modules, and we have spoken already about 2 of them. One is the making applications. And if the MagHealy would just have this one module, it would be worth to flood the world with it, because this is the way how this legacy of Meg Macon, and she is just incredible as a creative mind, but also with her scientific rigorosity, with her researching nature, the way how she documents everything, her enthusiasm if she talks about it, her way of teaching, her abilities as a therapist is just amazing. It's a beautiful person, and I'm so proud that she chose Time Weaver and Healy to exclusively work with. So that's such a great honor for us. So if MagHealy could do nothing else, just this would be enough, would be absolutely enough. But the other 3 modules are also each for itself would be an argument to develop this device. So the second is the atmosphere applications. And I spoke about it in quite some detail. And I like to show you here the applications of the different modules. We talked about the MagHealy applications. They are all about harmonizing the different aspects of the magnetic fields. And actually, that's important to, not the magnetic, the bioenergetic field. That's important to understand. How do the frequencies and the energy, the vibration of the space, how do they affect us? How can they affect us to increase our well-being? There is a key, and this key is known since thousands of years in Asia, but nowadays it gets accessible to science also. It's the bioenergetic system of the meridians. The meridians are a network of electromagnetic filaments which are created within the vibrating water within our body. Our body consists of 99.5% of water molecules. 99.5. And they are dipoles. So any electrical or magnetic field aligns them, and any frequency vibrates them. So imagine your body consisting to 99.5% of water, and they are dipoles which are vibrating. So from everywhere, waves are emanating with certain frequencies, and you get an interference, a beautiful play of frequencies which create structures. They create forms being reflected by the skin, being reflected by the borders of the organs, being reflected by the borders of the cells. So inside the cells, inside the organs, inside the shape of your body, according to its dimensions, beautiful coherent domains of water vibrations are shaped. So the water is not just water, it's a liquid crystal which vibrates with hundreds and thousands of eigen frequencies. So this amazing system can receive energy from its environment, it can store this energy, and it can release it. But before release it, transform the frequency. It can accept frequencies, energies, just from the human voice, just by talking to someone. The water in your body, the water in your cells, the water in your cognitive, connective tissue in your matrix starts to vibrate. And the quality of the consciousness behind the meaning of the vibration is transferred to the water in your body, which, if it's a good sound vibration, becomes more coherent. If it's a bad sound vibration like noise or, let's say, bad commercial music, which is just done for profit or whatever, this affects the quality of our meridian system in the body, in the organs, and in the cells. Has been proven by very rigorous scientific experiments. I will, in the next webinar, on the 2nd of May, I will talk about it to you, and I will show you pictures with microscopes done from the cytoskeleton. What an effect sound vibration and frequency has on the structure of our cells. It's really amazing. So the meridian system, it's not just an esoteric idea, but this is small tubes of superconductivity within the water. This is coherent tubes, almost one-dimensional coherent domains which transport energy and information instantaneously to the whole body or from one side to the other, integrating all its functions. The old Chinese knew it, but now quantum field theory also recognized it. There's a beautiful paper of Giuseppe Vicello, whom we are talking every week to. He's an amazing scientist. His background is quantum field theory, but he applies it to living matter. He applies it to consciousness and the mind, and he applies it to water. He's the center of a whole beautiful team of Italian researchers who have done this research from the very beginning of the 80s. It means 80s, 90s, 20s, like 30 years, 40 years, 40, 50 years of research about why and how do we live. And all this knowledge is integrated in how with frequency we are actually vibrating the strings of the meridian system in a harmonious way. This is the art. Imagine a harp which has hundreds and hundreds of small strings catching up each small movement of the hands. And if you vibrate one and also of its environment, all the others start to resonate in a beautiful way. This is the meridian system of our body. And it's not in our body only, but each organ for itself has such a system of string-like coherent domains within the water. And we can even go deeper to the cell. Each cell has its own meridian system. It's not esoteric. It's a purely physical system, which is a microstructure within the water, within our cells. So the intracellular water and the extracellular water, which is the water in the connective tissue, has this very, very important quality. So here we have 24 programs which Carolyn has chosen, and they all resonate with the meridian system within the body, but also within the cell. And that's amazing to understand the bioenergetic system of the cell. So another 24 applications are, wrong sequence. The atmosphere applications, where we have a special program for each function or room within your house, like office space, needs specific frequencies, different from sleeping, different from the area where you're eating, where you want to cool down, where you want to get into the digestion mood, where you need a peaceful but still enlivened atmosphere to eat either alone or together with your family or with your friends as a social event. That's so important to have a good energy there. Plants are so sensitive to the energies of space, and they react on frequencies even more sensitive than we human beings are. And they have their own meridian systems, and they have it under the earth. Plants are talking under the earth with each other. They have a very fine network, and they have a language. Recently, scientists discovered the language, how mushrooms are talking to each other and to the other plants in the forest. Scientists have already until now discovered 50 different words consisting of different frequency patterns. How plants, especially the mushrooms, communicate with each other. And believe me, if they have discovered 50, means there will be 500, there will be 5,000. Oh, that's such a beautiful language which the plants talk with. It's all frequencies. It's all frequencies. So here's a program for the area in your house where your plants are growing. And there's, I don't want to go through all of them. There's sexuality, cleansing the food, energizing the food, or it's a place where you have your workout, and of course, for animal wellness also. Animals, as sensitive as plants, they have their own meridian system. They are so open to the energies of the humans and also of the space. There's a special program for this also. Again, this is 24 programs for the atmosphere module. Then we have the classic applications. It will also become 24. Until now, it's 14, all based on research done within the last 50 years on the effect of specific frequencies with the classical magnetic field. My favorite is the resonances of the Earth's magnetic field, because life wouldn't be as it is if the magnetic field of the Earth wouldn't vibrate with specific resonances. You all know the Schumann resonance, but there are more. And the atmosphere is even vibrating in much higher frequencies, the spherics. We have integrated them also in a very beautiful frequency application in the classic module. Here's a sound of silence. I just try to remember. Yes, I choose this name for this very classical application, and I'm trying to figure out what frequency program is behind. Oh, it takes me a while. It will come back. Just forgot it. But this is amazing. Now I said it. I try to avoid the word amazing, and I try to avoid the word exciting, because I found that in the network language, these two words are used too frequently. But now I used it also because this is probably really amazing. What else? Atmosphere, and of course water. Oh my God, water. Since weeks I'm dealing with nothing than water. It's so interesting to look into the quantum field theory of water, to see how the information field, which has a surface, and this surface is the quantum vacuum, how its information is embodied in the nano and micro and milli structure of water. How water, through its coherent domains, stores energy and has such a beautiful fractal, vibrant structure, which is the basis of all life. In a way, we are nothing than a body of water, a liquid crystal, in which a few molecules are solved, like proteins, like a DNA, like enzymes, like microtubules, and so on. And the water, it is this water in which the meridians, as superconductive strings of the electromagnetic field, emerge and structure our electrical and electromagnetic body, and in this way also bring everything into shape, bring all the molecules into shape. To understand water, it's the most important step. It's the most important step to understand living matter. So this is what biologists should focus on, and not doing it yet. But without doing this, without applying quantum field theory, we will not understand what water is. So water can be structured. And what is structuring the water? Its frequencies. Why? Because water consists of electrical dipoles. And as soon as you apply a magnetic field or an electrical field or a frequency, the water molecules are aligned and they create waves. And the wave creates standing waves. And this creates the structure within water. And it's very stable. And if you drink such an vitalized, activated, you can say energized or informed water, it will support, it can support the coherence of the water in your body. So that's the idea. Use the MagHealy to activate, energize, inform, inspire the water, and then drink it. It can be done for supporting so many different functions, but it can also be used for something which is very important. Science more and more discovers the importance of fasting. It can be just fasting between, you can fast from breakfast to lunch, and then you can fast from lunch to dinner, and then you can fast from dinner to breakfast. But if you skip one of them, it's even better. We all know if we give the body 16 hours to relax from food, your body will be very thankful. But then you drink a lot of water, and it's the quality of water which makes the difference. Of course, it should be pure, but if you enrich it with the right frequencies, which are accepted by the coherent domains, which help the water to shape coherent domains, the water has this memory, then it will be supporting the process of fasting also. Therefore, we have frequencies for the morning and for the noon and for the evening. You need to feed the bioenergetic system of the body. And these programs are meant to feed the meridians. All these programs, they are not medical, they are not functional, they're not going to the structure. All these programs are meant to feed the meridians in your body, in your organs, and in your cells. They are meant to feed your bioenergetic system. They are meant to feed the coherent domains within the water. That's enough. I'm really inspired by the science behind this. And in 2 weeks, I will have 2 hours, 1 hour time. Probably I wish to have 2 hours, but I have 1 hour time, and I will just focus on nothing else. The science of coherent water, how the deeper waves in the water create the coherent domains, how this opens the water up to the information coming from the quantum vacuum, behind which the information field, which we are talking so much about, and how frequencies can resonate with this level, how the meridian system is created, and how the meridian system actually structures and controls even metabolic and molecular functions within our system. So in the end, I would like to spread some good news, because in the last 12 months, I think 15 months already, we have done, until now, I think we have completed 12 studies with the Healy, and also now with the MagHealy. But until a certain point, we had only 9 studies, and this moment, we decided we give all the raw data of our first 9 studies, of all the studies we did, to a very well-known professor who has published more than 500 scientific papers in the top journals of the world. It's Professor Dr. Harald Wallach, and who's one of the best people to ask for doing a meta-study. A meta-study is taking all the studies which have been done on a certain field, on a certain method, and then look for the overall success and homogeneity and bias and so on. And Professor Wallach did it with the data of the first 9 studies, with thousands of participants together, and he used very elaborate statistics. So again, using the Cohen's d effect to measure the effect size, or the H-G, which is basically same parameter, and you will see the result here. This is a meta-analysis of all the active arms of the studies combined and compared to the control. Control means a group which just continued as before, who didn't use any specific new method, just a control group which didn't do the application. So we had the coil study, we had the coherence study, we had the resonance study, we have the coaching study, the well-being study, the HRV study, power of 3, and the soul cycle study. And each of the study had 2 active arms. So a lot of data came. So for example, the coil study, we tested the coil against the electric Healy. In the coherence study, In the resonance study, we tested the resonance application against the electric application of the bioenergetic 1 and 2. So very complex studies with a lot of data. And the result altogether, here you see the studies. In the center, you see no effect compared with control. On the left side, you see that control, these values mean that control was favored. But on the right side, this favors the active group. And here, the border between large and very large effect is the line with the parameter D or G equal 1. So we have 3 studies above, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 studies below, altogether 9 studies. And this is the average of the randomized and of the fixed arms of the control. So average is 0.75 and 0.8. 0.8 already the large effect starts. So this 0.75 is a very solid, already large clinical effect. We're very happy about this. Here the effects are even bigger. Here we just look at the strong active arms versus control, and very surprising, very positive result. And Professor Wallach, this is a picture from him. He's writing in the conclusion of the meta-study. It's not yet published, but it will be soon submitted to a very good journal, peer-reviewed journal. He concludes the analyzed interventions all have a comparatively strong and highly significant effect of G equals 0.75. This is a clinically large effect. The largest effect was even G equals 1.6 in the resonance study. And the effect in the subsets of the first 3 studies was combined 1.17. Remember, with 1, everything above is a very large effect. Overall, the Healy interventions tested yielded strong and robust effects which are significant. The intervention seems to be an effective instrument to improve well-being in otherwise healthy volunteers. Great result, and I'm so much looking forward to this very elaborate analysis. There's a lot of more data analyzed by Professor Wallach. I'm looking so much forward to be published. Am I still online? Do you still hear me? Please give me feedback.
Yes, we hear you well, Marcus.
Okay.
We lost you for just one quick second. Mm-hmm.
You what?
We lost you just for 1 second. We hear you perfect.
That's not, no problem. Okay, great. So I think it's very significant for us because this will be published in 2 important articles. One article about the meta-study and another article about how all the science behind with the bioenergetic device and frequencies works, and how this effect is not just a pure, you can say, physical effect of frequencies, but it's an effect which involves the information field. And from certain statistical behavior of the data and study, Professor Wallach could find indications for information field, non-local, non-causal effects. And that's really amazing. So there will be 2 different articles, and both of them, especially the meta-study, can be very, very well used for marketing also. We can give it to the people to show, yes, there's a strong effect, which we see in the studies. And in the end, as I have promised to you, I have to very slowly go through the whole presentation. So you already see some slides from the science behind Healy, and much more is going to come in 2 weeks on the 2nd of May. and I will explain all this, especially this formula. You will love to understand this frequency resonance formula of the meridian system in the cells and in the body. It's very exciting. Oh, I didn't want to use this word. Beautiful pictures about how frequencies influence the meridian system of the cells. It can be photographed with microscopes. Okay, in the end, just more 5 minutes. The first MagHealy study has been done with 100 healthy volunteers in 2 groups, both application groups. So we didn't have a control group which was lazy all the time, but our control group is the people who use the electrical healing every day, once or twice, with programs of their choice. So that's the competition. We are testing the MagHealy programs against the classical Healy with the electrical current. We're testing magnetic field against electrical current. So that's a very hard competition. A very hard competition. If this would be 2 horses running in a horse race, and I would have to put 10,000 euro on one of them, oh my God, what a hard decision. So this is how the study was designed, with 3 different assess surveys, and all the participants did 2 weeks of applications. So here's the result. On the right, we have the control Healy with the IMF programs, individualized microcurrent frequencies. The well-being improved from 11 to 14, 3 points. And on the left side, MagHealy improving almost 5 points. So 3 points versus almost 5 points. MagHealy had a stronger performance. So the performance of MagHealy against Healy was 0.34. Small, but statistically significant. So this study shows the additional value of applying MagHealy. But if you compare each application, MagHealy and electrical Healy, against baseline, like how did the people feel before and how do they feel, how is their well-being 14 days later after the study, you get different numbers. Here, the Healy has 0.6 as the effect size, whereas the MagHealy has 1.05. Very large effect for the MagHealy and a good, strong middle effect for the Healy. Very good results. Then we look at how the decrease in a sleep disturbance means how the sleep quality was improved. So the blue on the right side, we have control Healy. Blue is a baseline, and after 2 weeks, the sleep disturbance decreased. How many points? 11 to 8, 3 points. On the other side, MagHealy's improvement is, again, 5 points. So the effect of MagHealy against Healy is small again, almost 0.3. But if you look at each effects for itself, we have the Healy with 0.6, a good middle large effect, and again, almost very large effect for the MagHealy with 0.94. We can be very satisfied with these results. And then, this is my favorite, because the MyMob, it's a decrease in burden. How much do you feel burdened by certain issues in your life? So if this decreases, we really help the people towards more well-being, towards more quality of life, wherever the disturbances come from. The control comes from 7 to 5. Good decrease of burden. Good old Healy, 2 points. But here, the MagHealy, again, more than 3 points. The difference between two, again, superiority of MagHealy, 2.4. But then if you compare each against baseline, it's crazy result. It's 1.26 for Healy. It's a very large effect for Healy. But the MagHealy here on the right side, oh, the number disappeared for some reason. Somebody deleted it. Was 1.98, almost 2. Has, I would say never been seen is not right, but this is like six right numbers in lottery or something in a lottery. This is really an amazing result for the MagHealy for itself, and I'm really proud of MagHealy for this performance of the MagMaken module, testing 4 of the 24 individual programs which are there in the MagHealy. That's it from my side, and I see the time has passed almost an hour, and I'm so much looking forward that we in 2 weeks speak the day before I travel to the United States, which I'm looking so much for also, visiting first California, where I meet scientists and have very special meeting with specialists, and then coming to Florida, coming to Orlando. I hope I'm not disclosing a secret here, but I think it's known. And I so much look forward to meet many of our members and our leaders, either in California or in Florida, most of you in Florida. And yes, looking forward to this journey. But until then, we'll have another webinar in 2 weeks on the 2nd of May, where you can find out more about the science behind MagHealy. All right, my voice is gone. The time is over. I thank you so much for listening, and I give the microphone back to Adriana, who has really important news for today, for you today. And I think it's very much worth to stay and listen what Adriana has to tell to us.
Adriana, you're muted.
There we go. So let me repeat. I say, Marcus, I think I speak on behalf of everybody on this call. Thank you for all that you do, and really for taking the time today to share your knowledge, share all the protocols. If you see on the chat, everybody has been sharing incredible comments on their thoughts on all the programs. And of course, we look forward to seeing those articles on the studies. But again, we look forward to May 2nd for our next session together, and a big launch for May. And we are, I don't want to say excited, right?
You can say it. If you're excited, say excited. If something is amazing, say amazing. I think if you feel for it, we can use the words. Why not?
Well, we are excited because it is amazing to be able to have you here with us in Orlando for our homecoming event, and along with Carolyn MagMaken for that incredible training that you two will perform for us. So again, thank you for everything. Safe travels, and I look forward to seeing you in person. And I know many of them here worked really hard to be able to see you in person too.
All right. So thank you, everyone, and goodbye to everyone, and have a wonderful time until May.
Looking forward. Have a great evening.